Ever wondered how simple programs are written? In this video, we're going to talk about coding. Just to give a heads up, this video covers a lot of different topics very quickly. Feel free to watch it again if you missed anything. We'll be going deeper into these topics in later videos. So what is coding? Simply put, coding is just basically a list of instructions that you write that the computer runs one after another. Now you probably already heard of the different languages you can use to program or code, such as Java, C++, C#, JavaScript, Python. You can think of the different languages as different tools to get the job done, and you always want to make sure you use the best tool for the job. For example, you wouldn't use a hammer to crack an egg. Using bricks might be a great way to build a house. Making your house out of straws? Not such a great idea. Just like that, you always want to use the best tool for the job. In these videos, I'm mainly going to be talking about the language Python. People use Python because it's easy to use, easy to test, and easy to read. That means you can see your results really quick. And if you're wondering, it's completely free to use. These are the reasons why people like me absolutely love to use Python. So how do you code? Think of a video game. You might want your character to move left when you press the left button, or jump when you press space. And you can do this by writing a combination of keywords that your computer understands. For example, if I press the left arrow, move left. Let's look at a simple keyword. How do we make our computer talk to us? You can write this code with me and test it by using any of the free online tools that I've linked below. To make our computer talk to us, or return something that we want, we can use the print command. Let's make our computer say, "Hello world." Notice how I typed in print hello world with an exclamation mark. The only additional thing I'm going to do is use an open and close parenthesis, and then two additional quotes, one at the beginning of hello and one at the end of world. Using one of the free online tools that I've linked below in the description, I can run this command, and notice how it says hello world with an exclamation mark. And there you go, you basically written your first line of code. Now I want you to try some additional examples by yourself. Try making the computer say anything you want. Why don't you pause the video and try it yourself? There'll be a lot of other keywords that you'll be learning about to make your computer do even more cooler things. But first, are you wondering why we had to put hello world in quotes? Let's talk about data types to understand that a little better. Whenever we want to use a string of words, for example in a sentence, we use the string data type. Whenever we want to use numbers, we use ints, and if it's a decimal number, we use floats. Whenever it's true or false, we use bool, and there are many other data types. Here is an example of me printing out a string. This is an example of me trying to print out a number. Notice I don't have quotes. Integers and floats don't need quotes. You can also do the same with true and false. It also doesn't need quotes. So when we run each of the commands, the output should look something like this. Why don't you pause the video and try it out yourself? One of the most useful things to do with the computer is math. When we want the computer to do math, we use operators, for example plus, minus, multiplication, and division symbols. All of these are also keywords. Let's make the computer do some simple math. Make the computer print out what 5 plus 5 is. When I ran this command, it outputted 10. Try it yourself. Here are some other examples. Here I'm adding 3 different numbers together. I'm also doing multiplication, and I'm also doing a mix of operators, for example addition and multiplication. Now that we know that when we print out 10 plus 5 plus 3 will give us 18, what would happen when we put quotes around it? Want to take a guess? When I run the command, you can see that instead of printing out 18, it literally prints out 10 plus 5 plus 3. That's because the computer thinks that this is a string. How can I make the computer print out strings as well as mathematical operators? For example, how can I make the computer say 10 plus 5 plus 3 is equal to 18? Let's start off with the print command as well as an open parentheses. So I know I'm going to be printing out a string first, so I need a quotation mark. Now let's type out our string. We want to do 10 plus 5 plus 3. Don't forget the equal sign at the end. Since this is the end of our string, we're going to close it with a quotation mark. Now to join a string with an integer, what we can use is the plus symbol. This isn't the same thing as addition though. When we're coding, we always have to make sure that our output is of the same data type. Here we want to join a string as well as an integer, but to do that we have to convert our integer into a string first. To do that, we're going to use the str command. Then I'm going to add my 10 plus 5 plus 3. You probably noticed that I put a close parenthesis at the end. This is because for every open parenthesis, we need a close parenthesis. So we need one close parenthesis for the string command, and we need one close parenthesis for the print command. Now I want you to run the command and see what happens. You should have gotten 10 plus 5 plus 3 is equal to 18. Just like the math operators, we also have comparison operators. We can check if two things are equal to each other by using equal equal. We can also check if they are not equal by using exclamation mark equals. We can also check if one thing is greater than the other or less than another. And we also have many other comparison operators. Let's put these operators to the test by printing out the output. Let's see if 1 is equal to 2, if 10 is greater than 1, and let's try some others. There's a challenging one at the end. Let's see if we can combine an addition and a comparison at the same time. Ready for the answers? If you're not, you can pause the video right now. So here are the outputs I got. Why don't you try some by yourself? Next, let's make our program a little bit more interesting by adding a little bit of logic. We can use the if command to add some logic. The if command works like this. If a condition is met, then it will do this. Instead of using then, we need to replace it with a colon. Now we need to change our condition to something that can be true or false. How about if we check if 10 is greater than 5? Next, we need to add a tab right in front of the do this command. This is how Python will know how many lines of code to run underneath the if statement. Every single line that has a tab and that is under the if command, the program will run. In this case, if 10 is greater than 5, it will run lines 2, 3, and 4. Line 5 will run regardless of the if statement because it doesn't have a tab in front of it. Now we just need to replace do this with a proper command that the computer understands. How about we use the print command to say that 10 is greater than 5? If you were able to run the program successfully, you should have gotten the output 10 is greater than 5. In addition to the if command, if the if statement is not true, we can also have an else statement. If the if condition fails in this statement, it will print out 10 is not greater than 5. Why don't you try it and see what you get? We've been zooming through the topics and almost at the finish line. The final topic I want to talk about today is variables. Since a program needs to be dynamic so it can adapt to changes that happen while it's running, we need a place to store this information. We can store it in variables. Creating a variable is simple. All you need to do is define a variable name and then make it equal to something. For example, a is equal to hello world. You can also make it equal to integers, like b is equal to 5. You can call your variable anything you want, for example, name. You probably already realized that you can't use system keywords as variable names. Some are print, if, import, else. Let's look at a practical example. Create a variable called name and make it equal to your name. Now let's add some validation to the variable name. Let's say if name is equal to your name, let's print out hello, your name. Let's add one more line of logic. If the variable name isn't equal to your name, let's print out hello, stranger. Let's add one more line of logic. If the variable name isn't equal to your name, let's print out hello, stranger. You can run the program and see what it does. I want you to change the value of the variable name to other values. See what happens. That's basically all we have time for in this video. Please watch my other videos where we'll go deeper into these topics that we covered. Thank you for watching and see you next time.